National Assembly Standing Committee convened meeting in Hanoi. And Vietnam elected as Vice Chair of UNESCO General Assembly 42. In our war news, Germany hosts Ukraine Recovery Conference.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. The steering committee tasked with summarizing several theoretical and practical issues on socialist-oriented innovations over the past 40 years in Vietnam met for its third session on Wednesday morning. State President Tô Lâm, head of the steering committee, chaired the meeting. The state president emphasized that after 14 months, the steering committee has carried out a large amount of work. The president proposed that the theoretical issues drawn from summarizing 40 years of innovation must come first and light the way for the entire party, the entire people, and the entire army to overcome difficulties and challenges, take advantage of opportunities, remove bottlenecks in cognitive thinking, clarify theoretical breakthroughs, provide a scientific basis for planning development policies and guidelines. State President Tô Lâm hopes that the members of the steering committee will promote a sense of responsibility to complete the tasks assigned by the party and state. On Wednesday morning, the National Assembly Standing Committee commented on an explanations of the draft resolutions and the revisions of development of Nghệ An province. The resolution spelled out proposals for urban government organizations and specific mechanisms and policies to develop Da Nang City. The National Assembly Standing Committees agree that Nghệ An is a province facing many difficulties, so allowing the allocations of an additional 50% of public investment capital to localities will ensure stability, openness, transparency, and clarity of policies, creating balance in planning and allocating resources for projects. Regarding specific mechanisms and policy for Da Nang City development, the Standing Committee agreed on the need for regulation on exemption from liability in controlled experiments. However, this only extends to exemption from civil liability and does not exempt criminal liability. Delegates also emphasized the need to be cautious and take firm steps regarding the pilot establishment of the Da Nang Free Trade Zone. The Index of Industrial Production's IIP in the first 5 months of this year increased by 6.8% compared to the same period last year. According to the General Statistics Office, the index decreased by 2% this time last year. They show a clear sign of recovery in industrial production capacity as well as positive market signals in the first half of this year.
These textiles businesses' output in 5 months increased by 50% compared to the same period last year. The owners are investing in machinery to fulfill the surge in orders.
We have signed many large orders with partners. The prospects are positive. We're expanding our investment and build another factory in Phie, which is expected to have an output 2.5 times higher than the factory here.
Phu Tho is one of the leading localities within the processing and manufacturing industry, which has more than doubled in the past year. FDI enterprises contribute nearly half of this growth.
Phu Tho's achievements have been fueled by new businesses commencing operations. The industry groups contributing to this increase are mainly in electronics, textiles, paper, and chemicals.
55 out of 63 localities recorded growth in industrial production over the past 5 months, a result of bustling activities in both exports and imports.
The government's solutions to stimulate demand and promote public investment have contributed to improving the production capacity of businesses. FDI disbursement is also a driving force for industrial production.
Vietnam's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index in May reached 50.3 points, showing that business conditions have improved slightly for the second consecutive month, highlighted by increased manufacturing output. Decisions to remove obstacles and connect markets are working effectively, creating great momentum in the second half of the year.
Recently, the government issued Resolution number 84 on developing legislations, amending and supplementing several articles of the Land Law 2024, the Housing Law 2023, and the Real Estate Business Law 2023. These three laws will become effective 5 months earlier than planned if passed. This will have clear obstacles for the real estate market and spur growth by the end of this year.
Statistics from the Ho Chi Minh City Real Estate Association show that 70% of real estate businesses' difficulties relate to legal problems. Currently, over 148 projects in Ho Chi Minh City are facing legal logjams. Therefore, when the legal system ensures consistency, unity, and practicality, it will be able to handle most legal problems and meet the aspirations of both citizens and investors.
We see that the government has made intensive effort to resolve these bottlenecks by establishing 2 working groups that coordinate with ministry, departments, and localities. New decrees and circulars will be issued along with the newly promulgated laws. We believe these endeavors will help reactivate hundreds of stalled projects.
If the National Assembly passes a draft resolution allowing businesses to agree on the transfer of land use rights or have land use rights unrelated to residential land to implement commercial housing projects, investors will be allowed to create more land funds for project development.
These 3 laws will resolve the existing shortcomings that we have not been able to resolve in the past.
According to experts, the 3 laws are expected to help reinvigorate the real estate market and free up land resources. The housing law would help increase access to housing, while the new real estate business law would help regularize the market and control transactions.
We predict that the market will thrive again by the end of 2025. Liquidity will expand, more products will be launched, and business confidence will also improve. By 2026, the market will enter a sustainable and stable development phase.
Localities are directed to accelerate construction progress and issue detailed implementation documents in June, so the laws can be applied as early as August 1st. It is necessary to coordinate closely with relevant ministries and agencies to ensure consistent lawmaking.
Along with seeking partners through trade events, Vietnamese businesses also promote their presence on international e-commerce platforms. Some international platforms such as Amazon and Alibaba are witnessing a sharp increase in the number of Vietnamese sellers. This is considered a potential export channel at this time.
More than 40% of these businesses' revenue comes from export channels through e-commerce platforms. Many online sites offer a variety of coffee types for different targets in each host country. To do this, the business hired personnel in the host country and produced products specifically for each market.
We recruit local staff who have experience selling goods on e-commerce platforms. They can help us adjust the coffee's quality, design, and taste to meet the local market's needs.
Although the costs of maintaining online sales channels are high, such as hiring workers, building web pages, and logistics, businesses accept cuts in profits to find business partners and expand markets.
Businesses must provide accurate images of their goods when joining international e-commerce platforms. They should also develop a good logistics system, including delivery services and retail returns program.
According to the e-commerce platform Alibaba, items such as food, beverages, handicrafts, plastic, and rubber that meet green production standards are popular among international buyers.
This is an opportunity for businesses to boost productivity, sell large quantities of goods, meet customer needs, and quickly recover capital.
Currently, the Ministry of Industry and Trade is building Vietnamese national pavilions at major global e-commerce sites to help Vietnamese products reach a global customer base.
To date, 13 fruit and vegetable products have participated in the official market in Vietnam. Last year, the trade turnover of agriculture, forestry, and fishery products between Vietnam and China reached nearly $16 billion. The growth potential in each industry is huge if farmers and businesses focus on quality improvement. There's just over a month until the peak durian harvest in the Central Highlands. Localities have cultivated sustainable supply chain linkages for leading fruit products. More to follow.
As a crop with high economic value, durian is very sensitive to climate and weather conditions. Cultivating this fruit requires strict adherence to technical procedures to achieve good profitability.
More durian trees have recently been grown because they have high economic value. Cultivation must be expanded in those areas with suitable climate and soil conditions.
We also provide advice on intercropping durian trees in the Central Highlands at appropriate densities to ensure the simultaneous growth of durian and coffee.
Plant variety is a crucial factor, along with favorable growing conditions. To meet the demand for frozen durian products, the Department of Crop Production and localities are reviewing existing growing areas to organize production more effectively.
It's necessary to develop concentrated farming areas, such as cooperatives, where farmers can share experiences and support each other in ensuring quality consistency. As a result, products can meet technical and output requirements.
Since the protocol on durian import and export activities with China was signed in July 2022, Vietnamese durian has had great export opportunities. However, recently, through a review by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, China repeatedly advised 5 out of 17 durian-producing and exporting provinces to make changes.
Before moving on to some of the news, let's take a look at foreign exchange rate for today, June 12th. Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnam elected as Vice Chair of UNESCO General Assembly 42. And Blaze and Gulf Cham Chim National Park. On June 11th, at the 42nd General Assembly of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO in Paris, France, Vietnam was elected Vice Chair representing the Asia-Pacific region. In this executive position, Vietnam will directly participate in building and approving important UNESCO decisions on culture and steer the implementation of the 2003 Convention goals. Currently, Vietnam has 15 intangible cultural assets registered by UNESCO and 550 national heritage sites. With this new responsibility, Vietnam simultaneously takes on the roles in 4 key UNESCO areas for the first time. The global community trust continues to affirm Vietnam's increasingly high positions in the international arena, especially its contributions to UNESCO's activities. Due to heavy rain, floods and landslides, many transportation routes in Hà Giang province remain blocked. Particularly, the road to the Mèo Vạc district border communes have not yet been fully restored. In Hà Giang City, the water has gradually receded from low-lying areas since Tuesday. Local authorities have mobilized forces to assist residents in cleaning up, aiming to restore normal life and resume work and business operation quickly.
This woman's family is among those severely affected. The floodwaters and mud inundated her premises overnight, burying the entire warehouse and washing away their motorbike and car. The estimated total damage is about $27.5 thousand US.
Everyone knew our family suffered a heavy loss, so they all came to help, skipping dinner until 10 or 11 p.m. They worked very hard to help us out.
Similarly, the entire ground floor of this man's home was flooded. It was once used to run a food and beverage business. The rapid rise of floodwaters did not allow time for the family to move their belongings.
Local authorities, neighbors, and my friends came to help. We cleaned briefly and had to repurchase all the appliances to resume business.
All unit members and residents joined together to quickly move locals' properties out of the dangerous areas.
Currently, the rain has subsided and the water has receded. Forces have been deployed to clean up the area, collect trash, clear mud, and retrieve belongings. Additionally, support has been allocated to schools to help clean up and repair facilities so learning activities can quickly be resumed.
The major wildfire in Cham Chim National Park, Đồng Tháp Province was mostly under control by late Tuesday afternoon. However, the blaze was still smoldering at the base of the Melaleuca trees and in the dry vegetation area. Local authorities were operating equipment and machinery and mobilizing patrol forces throughout the night to fully extinguish the fire and prevent it from reigniting.
Food supplies were brought to the forest for those fighting the fire. Dozens of police officers, militia members, and professional firefighters remained on site throughout Tuesday night. They were divided into several groups to patrol through the night, preventing the fire from flaring up again.
We are on patrol 24/7. Each shift includes 10 patrol members to promptly detect and extinguish any smoldering fires.
According to the Tam Nông District People's Committee, the fire mainly affected the Melaleuca forest, grasslands, and dense dry vegetation. The area adjacent to the burned forest is densely occupied with local fruit orchards. Therefore, there is a high risk of the extinguished fire reigniting due to hot and windy weather. Local authorities have kept the forces on site, along with 6 water pumps and dozens of extinguisher backpackers on standby throughout the night to promptly respond to the threat.
The equipment remains at the scene, ready to extinguish any smoldering spots. We have assigned 2 groups to be on duty at night and in the morning. We will inspect the scene and report to the leaders before withdrawing the forces.
The blaze broke out in subzone A1 of Tam Chim National Park at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. Upon discovering the fire, Đồng Tháp Province mobilized over 200 people to fight the forest fire. By late Tuesday afternoon, the fire was mostly under control. Initial statistics show approximately 20 hectares of forest were burned, 40% of which being Melaleuca forest and the rest being grasslands.
By 2030, Cần Giờ District, Ho Chi Minh City will become a high-quality resort and eco-tourism city capable of competing at the regional level. This is the highlight of the strategy for sustainable exploitation and use of resources and protection of the marine and islands environment until 2030 with a vision to 2050 in Ho Chi Minh City. Specifically from 2030, priority will be given to developing tourism and marine services, harnessing energy from the sea, renewable energy, and new marine economic sectors have been spotlighted, as have managing and protecting marine, coastal, and islands ecosystem. Planting forests in coastal area is another aim, along with protecting coastal forest biodiversity and improving environmental quality and degraded areas. The Management Board of Con Đảo National Park said it recommends the authorities survey and re-evaluate the current status of bleached coral reef in Con Đảo waters for a second time. It is planned that this revisit will inform appropriate recovery plan proposals. Survey results around Con Sơn Islands have shown that relief in the southeast have a much higher rate of coral bleaching than reef in the northwest. Coral bleaching occurs due to seawater temperature at a depth of 20 meters, reaching 32 degrees Celsius. According to experts, the coral bleaching in Con Đảo is due to increased seawater temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius. Coming up next in our World News, heat stroke claimed 41 lives in Odisha, India. And Germany hosts Ukraine Recovery Conference. India is currently experiencing its longest heat wave ever recorded. Recent temperatures have soared past 50 degrees Celsius in some areas. In the eastern state of Odisha alone, 41 sunstroke deaths have been recorded since the beginning of the summer. At least 8 cases of suspected sunstroke death were reported in the past 3 days, according to Odisha officials. Previously, official figures indicated that at least 60 people have died due to heat-related causes from March to May this year across India. Nearly 25,000 suffer from heat stroke. However, they are concerned that the actual number could be much higher as data from rural area is not fully accounted for. Heatwave conditions are expected to persist in northern and eastern India in the coming days. The Russian Defense Ministry has announced that the Russian Navy has conducted high-precision weapon drills in the Atlantic Ocean. The exercises involve the use of the fourth-generation nuclear-powered submarine Kazan, one of the world's most powerful submarines, and the destroyer Admiral Govskov, equipped with new Zircon hypersonic missiles. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, the drills involved attacking sea targets more than 600 kilometers away. The exercise was held following recent air defense training. Germany and Ukraine are co-hosting the Ukraine Recovery Conference held in Berlin. The event has attracted over 2,000 participants from 60 countries, discussing extensive economic, humanitarian, and political support and necessary arms supplies for Ukraine. This is the third Ukraine Recovery Conference since the outbreak of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. 4 objectives were outlined for the conference, focusing on mobilizing the private sector to aid Ukraine economic recovery, developing urban areas, housing and local economic activities, and promoting human rights and legislation. For the first time, the Ukraine support plan included upgrading social services and infrastructure in the education and health sectors. More than 600 representatives from Ukrainian, German, and other international companies in energy, healthcare, logistics, and weaponry, and representatives from Ukraine local authorities and civil society were present planned to help Ukraine rebuild and reform. It was carried out during 30 discussion sessions. On the floor of the X robot factory in China, Dalian City, robots come alive with facial expressions and gesture, arguably nothing short of an actual person. They aim to one day play a role in therapy and counseling, and even conduct preliminary tests for psychological disorders. More in the following story.
Neck-length silicone masks lie sprawled on a table alongside silicone arms and feet, while disembodied heads sit on display and humanoid robots, in various stages of construction, stand nearby. Drawings of robot designs adorn a wall. This is the inside view of the X-Robots factory in China's northeastern coastal city of Dalian, where engineers develop humanoid robots with a focus on enhancing facial expressions and emotions.
The bionic humanoid robot we made is actually the most complex class of robotic products, which integrates almost all robotics technologies, including the robot's bionic skin, mechanical structure, automatic control, as well as its intelligent brain. In terms of algorithms, we focus more on the part of AI that integrates with the robot. There are many basic models and algorithms that are commonly open source, which everyone uses. However, we concentrate more on how to enable the AI to recognize and express expressions and emotions. Additionally, we work on multimodal capabilities.
The main purpose of the company's robots, so far, is for display in museums. However, X-Robots chief believes humanoid robots will have a bigger role to play in the healthcare and education industries.
Psychological counseling and health are certainly future application scenarios. We are currently conducting related research, such as auxiliary treatment and preliminary screening for emotional and psychological disorders.
X-Robots said it takes from 2 weeks to a month to produce a humanoid robot, with prices ranging from 1.5 million yuan to 2 million yuan.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.